Do we have any adorable little babies here? Any adorable little kids here? Or any adorable older people here? Right there. What do we say when we see a little adorable baby or a little adorable older person? What do we say when we see them? Anybody say? Aw. What else do we say? You're so cute. What? Yes, you're so cute. What do we say after that? I want to eat you up. You're so cute, I want to eat you up. Has anyone ever said that to a kid before? It's a very strange thing to say, don't you think? You're so cute, I want to eat you up. And yet, that phrase, or something like that phrase, is found in every single language across the world. It's a universal phrase. And sociologists study this, and they actually have come to realize that it's something called the cute effect. That when we see someone that is so cute, it's almost like our emotions are bursting with such joy and excitement that the opposite effect kind of does the opposite. It helps taper our emotions. So basically our emotions are so out of control that instead of responding with joy, we turn to like violence. I want to eat you up. Like it's something strange within us. They're not quite sure why, but that's their theories, that it regulates our emotions. So we either pinch or squeeze or nibble or bite or I didn't nibble you. I'm coming back later. You're so cute, I want to eat you up. Why is that? Why is it when we see something so precious or beautiful, we want to take that into us? It's like we can't contain our joy, and at the same time we can't contain our longing for what that person is, that person that is so cute or adorable, beautiful, radiant, shows us something about the divine. See, there's something deep within each and every one of us, and this is part of our human nature, that there's an emptiness in us that we desire in some way to fulfill with goodness. There's an emptiness in us that when we see something good or beautiful, we want to take it in. We want to eat it up. And Jesus, he knows this about us. He knows that we have this poverty within us, this emptiness within us that only he alone can satisfy, that he alone is the one that can fulfill. And he desires that we eat him. That's strange. He desires that we eat him. And this teaching that he gives us today as we celebrate this feast of the Corpus Christi, he wants to feed his disciples, and he's trying to prepare them for the Last Supper. And this passage from John 6, it's called the Bread of Life Discourse. So he's beginning to prepare his disciples for the time that he will celebrate the Last Supper with him and give his very body and blood to him through the Eucharist. He's preparing them. And so he's telling them what they're going to experience. And he's kind of looking back to the Old Testament and the time that the Israelites were starving. They were in the desert, and God gave them this miracle, this bread from heaven that came down every morning, and they got to eat of it. And Jesus is saying, I'm going to give you something that is even beyond that miracle. See, they ate the bread from heaven, which was miraculous, but they still died. He said, I will give you the true bread from heaven. Whoever eats this bread will live forever. And then he goes and he says this, unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you have no life within you. Whenever Jesus says something that's really, really important, he tends to do it 3 times. And so the disciples kind of hear this, but they don't understand. And he says, if you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you will have eternal life. And now there's kind of rumbling because they're like, we think he's serious about this. And they start to ask him again, and he says, unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you have no life within you. Whoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood has eternal life, and I shall raise him on the last day. Whew. That's a pretty amazing thing that he's saying to us, and also a little bit troubling, because the Jews began to quarrel among themselves, saying, how can this man give us his flesh to eat? And it comes to such a great point of contention, because they take what Jesus is saying seriously, as we ought to, that a great many of his disciples at this teaching walked away. It happens right after the verse from today's gospel. So today is John chapter 6. The verse where they all walk away is John 6, verses 66. So John 6, the disciples walk away. Many of his disciples left at this point because they said, this teaching is too hard. This is a hard teaching to understand. And yet Jesus says, unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you have no life within you. I want to look at now the gift that he's offering to us. This way that he has discovered that he doesn't want to just be outside of us. He doesn't want to just be someone that we talk to or communicate with. He wants to be someone that communes with us. And to commune with us is to be inside of us. Not only to be inside of us, to be fully united with us. That when we receive him in the Eucharist, we become one with Jesus. He gives himself to us so that we may become one with him. We celebrate this feast of the Corpus Christi so that we remember, that we honor, that we praise this reality of Jesus present to us in the Eucharist. And I think it's something that every year it's good for us to go deeper into our faith of, do I believe this? And if I struggle with that, Lord, can you give me the grace? Help me to believe that the bread and wine are transformed into the very body, blood, soul, and divinity. This great feast came about in the church because there was a time around the Protestant Reformation that people began to not believe in the Eucharist. So for the first 1,500 years of the church, there was complete, total faith in the Eucharist being the very body, blood, soul, and divinity of the church. And then all of a sudden, there was a great fraction where some of the disciples walked away, even currently, and it caused us to reassess, reevaluate, relook at this great mystery of our faith. And out of that came this celebration of Corpus Christi, that we would not only celebrate this feast of the Eucharist, but that we would hold the Eucharist in a very special way to show, to reveal Jesus present in this mystery. And that's when we began using the monstrance. So when we have Eucharistic adoration, the Eucharist is in the monstrance, and we can spend time in adoration. And if you struggle with the real presence, I just invite you, spend time in Eucharistic adoration, because when you spend time with Jesus and just simply gaze at him in the Eucharist, your heart will be set on fire, will come to believe in him. Sometimes people try to explain what happens in the Eucharist, and we could do that in the homily. I'm not going to do that because I'm one of those people that takes the faith very simply. When Jesus gave the gift of his body and blood, he said to his disciples, "Take this, all of you, and eat of it. This is my body. This is my body." He's not saying this is a symbol of my body, this is like my body, I want you to think of this when you... This is my body. In a similar way, when he took the chalice filled with wine, he took the chalice, consecrated it, gave it to his disciples, and said, "Take this, all of you, and drink from it. This is the blood of my covenant." He's giving us his very body and blood to take into us. Because he knows that when we see him, when we discover him, that same reaction happens to us as with a child. We see in Jesus something that just within us says, "You're so beautiful, I could eat you up. I just want to take you into me." And we take his body and his blood and receive him into us in such a way that Jesus now unites himself to us, and we become united with him on this earth. And then he says, "Whoever eats my flesh and drinks my blood remains in me, and I in him." This is how we get to be with Jesus in this life. And we're given the pledge of eternal life, but even now we get to enjoy life within him because we have received him into us. On this great feast day of Corpus Christi, let us just stir our hearts with that love, that adoration, that desire to believe truly in his presence, to understand that the bread and wine, when consecrated, become his very body, blood, soul, and divinity, and to take him into us, to receive him, and to really experience what it means to see something that is so beautiful and so good and so cute that we just want to eat him up, that we want to take him in and keep him within us forever.